Hello everyone, this is Jess. Today I have another Wison pen to review. So this is I think one of the newest pen from Wingsung, and this is their number 631. And I got this pen from China, and let my parents bring to the States for me. And I'm very interested in this pen because it is an ebonite body pen with a gold nib, 14K gold nib. And I just want to see how the Wison gold nibs are right now currently. And then the pen came in a box like this, and the sleeve, after the sleeve, the case is like a standard clamp style sleeve. I don't think they have, so these inserts are fixed, so I don't have additional wrench or silicone grease. I got from this as the one that came with the Wingsung 600, but they do have the same kind of manual and maintenance little pamphlet. So this pen is kind of interesting. I think because of the number 600 is a relatively large ebonite pen from Wison, so they released a smaller sized ebonite pen that's I think is more suitable for everyday use. So to compare this with the 600, which is I think the lengths are almost the same, but the girth is definitely skinnier for the 631. And if I were to compare it with some of my other pens, for example, so this is a Pelican 300, Pelican 600. It is slightly shorter than the Wison, and then the Sailor Pro Gear is also shorter. So by looks, the 631 from Wison is bigger than these two pens. And I also have a Pilot custom 643. So I think these are kind of on the same length. So I think these pens all look kind of dark. So if I were to place them on a lighter background, so I think by this way, the girth could be slightly more obvious. So yeah, I think in general, this 631 is on the more, is definitely not a small pen, but it is thinner than the 600. And then the price is also cheaper. When I find them on AliExpress or Taobao, actually I don't think this pen is on AliExpress right now, but when I find this on Taobao, I think it's almost half the price as the 600. And of course, the 600 has an 18 karat gold nib, and the trims are just slightly more intricate. Compare that to the 631, it doesn't have a cap ring that's metal. It only have a clip, metal clip, and then the design of the clip are also slightly different. So for the 600, it is says 君来 in Chinese, a specific font called 小篆. And for the 631, it is called Jun L, so JUNL, Jun Lai, I think. And I don't think it doesn't have any additional trim, a metal trim on this body. And so I will post the specs of the pen right here, if you want to read specifically how large the pen is. And also I think there is like a blind engrave here, says made in Shanghai, and Jun L 631 here. So it's engraved in blind. So the color I have right here is called a violet. But I think the violet is relatively dark, so it almost looks like a brown. But I personally really like this color, and it is such a glossy and very smooth pen to hold in my hand. And like I said, it's just slightly skinnier than the 600, so it feels slightly more comfortable to write with. If I do see how many turns it has to open up, let me see. So one turn, and then there's no problem opening up. This is also piston filler, although the piston, there are no additional trim around the piston, so it's almost not detectable if you're not familiar with it, but it is a piston filler here. And just as the 600, I don't think either of these pens have some ink window that you can observe how much ink you have inside. As for the nib, so if you can see, I inked this pen up, but this is their heartbeat nib. Yeah, it's not showing up very well in the camera, but basically there's a heart and a heartbeat for the between the tines. It's kind of a very interesting design. And what I got here is also marked as a heartbeat EF nib. So this is their I don't think you can see the engraving very well in here. So this has engraving of Jun Lai in Chinese, and then Jun L, and then to say it is a 14-karat gold nib, and then EF nib. So it's supposed to be extra fine, but the interesting thing about this is it is their Junfeng extra fine. So it does has a slight what they call a blade at the tip of the nib, so it doesn't give uniform line width. So let me grab my notebook to do some writing samples. So that was still my swatches and writing sample for the Wingsung 600. And for this one is the Wingsung 631. It started a little bit dry. Mainly, I believe is because the ink I put in here is the Noodler's Lorraine Mauve. So this ink is I think it's relatively waterproof, and so it kind of like dried up faster than the regular inks. So you can see for EF, this is definitely a relatively thick line if I lay it down. And then if I lift it up, it can create relatively skinny line. Yeah, this ink is definitely on the drier side, especially if I don't cap it right away after I use it. It will have some I don't think it feels any sort of scratchiness at all, but it does has some variation in line width if you write in a different angle, which I find very interesting. So if I to write in Chinese, and then some poem. So it does give quite a bit of characters to write with, which I enjoy very much. Yeah, so I would say this is definitely some pen I think is cost effective, comfortable to write with, and good quality. I don't think the pen has any problem. It doesn't have any scratchiness. And then compared to the 600, it's just more comfortable to write with, and also the fact that the heartbeat nib has some of their individuality compared to the 600, which is very, very, very similar to a sailor nib. I personally appreciate the nib on the 631 more. But something I would like to I would like to mention that something I find I hope improve in a lot of the Chinese brand is that I don't think they have a very systematic naming system, or like just system to tell like what the pens are. So Wingsung has their 629 is a very standard, I believe it's a very standard copy of the cigar-shaped sailors, the sailor standard pens. And then they have I don't remember which one, but Wison also has a pen that's basically a copy of the Pilot A23. Like all those numbers for Wison doesn't indicate what the pen is. So it's slightly confusing for me to see what it is. Is that a 630? Like there is a 630 that I don't think has anything to do with the 631, because these two are ebonite pens, but their numbers are 600 and 631. So from the number themselves, I don't know any, like I cannot tell what the style of the pens are. And something I feel like what is a shame is that this clip has a Jun L here to as a like a trademark or like a label, but it's just slightly less elegant in my opinion than to have a Jun Lai written here. Yeah, I can take the lack of trim at the top finial or like the cap ring. I think those are fine, I don't mind. But if you can keep the clip consistent, or at least has the font and the label the same, I would definitely appreciate these more. So it just feels like this 631 is an answer to the people who really like to try their gold nib ebonite pens, but think the 600 is just too expensive. They want to try to price it down by reducing some of the manufacturing details. That is, I feel like is something I hope they can be slightly more consistent in those aspects. But as a pen itself, I do think this pen works very well in my especially my journal writing. I write some journal in Chinese with it, So and something also about the ink is that this is the Tomoyo River paper on the Habino book. The Habino book, and then I think this ink, I didn't use it too much because it does have some sort of ghosting here and there, which it doesn't bother me that much, but yeah, I think in general it just it, like I showed earlier, if I don't cap it right away, it just will come out a little bit dry in between some writing. But this is kind of what it looks like, and then compared to the Wingsung 600, I think both of them have the stylish like blade nib, their Jinfeng nib, which I really like. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know if that will give you slightly more information about the Winston gold nib pens. I personally like them a lot for both of them. I have another Winston pen, which is their copy of the Sailor, either the, I forgot which one, but I think it's Sailor. There's yeah, 1911. Yeah, they have a copy of that pen. I also obtained. So if you're interested in a comparison with those pens, please let me know. With that, I think that's it for me today. But yeah, so when I was editing the video, I noticed that there is a new release from Wison July, which is the July 632 big ebonite pen with number 8 18 karat gold nib. So I believe by the looks, the material of the barrel are pretty much the same as the 600 and the 631, but I think the pen is noticeably shorter than the 600. So yeah, but when I look at the products, so their promotion pictures and videos, it looks like, yeah, they all have the similar color and the grind of nibs as the 600. And when I look at the specs of the pen, I think everything else other than the length of the barrel is just shorter than the 600. Everything else are pretty much the same. So I think this is their way to expand their production line. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know if I'm interested in getting the 632 since it's almost identical to the 600, but at the same time, I believe the 600 does have like a relatively small release, so I don't think a lot of the 600 is still in stock. So yeah, I don't know if like when will be the time this can be accessible to most consumers, but yeah, that's they're still actively producing those gold nib pens is kind of what I'm getting from. Yeah, so let me know if you have more questions or if I can extract some information from their release, but that's kind of what I have right now. So have a good day, and then have a good September. Bye.